6th, 2025. This is a December the 6th, 2025 edition of This Day in Black Baseball History, where I give you historic facts that happened on this day that actually revolve around African American baseball players. Now, they could be playing not only baseball, but they could be playing other sports too, because many of these athletes were multi talented. And I want to share this information with you because most of you probably have never heard it before. So this is new information, but it's good information, and it's information that we need to know if we really want to recognize these men for all that they did to make American sports as popular as they are today. So once again, my name is Phil S. Dixon, and I'm an author and have published many books, and I've been conducting Negro League baseball research for over 45 years. Man, that's a hard thing to surpass. Now, there are lots of people out there who are talking about the Negro Leagues, but I'm telling you, I'm one of the old timers now. But I started when I was in my 20s, telling these men's stories, and I've been consistent with it ever since, telling the stories of these, I guess I would say, my ancestors' history in sports. So we're going to jump right into it, and people will join. If you're joining live, go ahead and put in the city that you're from, the city and the state, or just the state if you prefer that. And then I'll give you a shout out. You guys' names are so complicated that I'd rather shout out the city. And then plus, if you mention the city, I might know something about the city that I can tell you about. And I see somebody come joining me from Oklahoma City. Yeah, man, Oklahoma City, lots of memories there. I'm trying to think who's the greatest. Well, I tell you who's the greatest baseball player. If you ever get down to the stadium there, and right in front of the stadium, there's a statue of Wilbur Bullet Rogan, who played for the Kansas City Monarchs, who I happen to think was the greatest all-around player of all time. And I'm trying to think of the name. Well, Joe Carter was a good player, but I think Wilbur Bullet Rogan was even better because Rogan could pitch and he could hit for power, and he played a long time. Yeah, Joe Carter was certainly an outstanding player. Man, I just saw Joe Carter maybe about 2 or 3 months ago. He was in Kansas City. Cito Gaston came and received an honor from the Negro Leagues Baseball Museum, and of course, Joe Carter and what he did back in the was it 90s, then 92, somewhere in there, 92, 94, where he hit that home run. And of course, Toronto had back-to-back World Series. So yeah, definitely know about Joe Carter. All right, so let's jump right into these, and I'll give you some facts, and we'll go from there. I'll give you some facts and some commentary. All right, so let's go December the 6th, 1914. And I'm going to say this guy's initial, I never could find his first name, but S. Arkenberg, and his first name's unknown to me. He was pitching for the Pasadena Giants. He struck out 16 of the Los Angeles Color Giants and did not walk a man in Pasadena's 14-4 victory. And the win gave Arkenberg 9 straight wins. And the bad news is that only 100 people attended the game in Pasadena. Now, George Carr, who was a famous Negro League first baseman, played with the Kansas City Monarchs, Hilldale. I mention him a lot right now because I talk a lot about Winter League baseball, and George Carr was in the lineup for the Los Angeles Colored Giants. Let's go to another one. December the 6th, 1925. Wilbur Bullet Rogan. Now, hey, we just mentioned him, the guy from Oklahoma. I'm going to give you some Bullet Rogan information. Wilbur Bullet Rogan captured an 11-5 victory over the White Kings-sponsored soap team in California Winter League action. In addition to winning the game with a pair of strikeouts, Rogan went 2 for 4 at bat. How about this one? Big George Carr, we just mentioned him again, slugged a pair of home runs off of Clyde Barfoot, formerly of the St. Louis Cardinals, who would pitch for the Detroit Tigers in 1926, a year later, and George Payne, who pitched for the Chicago White Sox in 1920. So what you're seeing is these outstanding black baseball players, they're playing right with the best that the American and National League had to offer, but they would not give them a chance to integrate their league. Just imagine if they had integrated the league, the records that would have been changed through the decades. That's something to think about, guys. So I guess it's kind of ironic that you joined me from Oklahoma City, and uh, and I'm talking about Bullet Rogan on this date, right? Let me see somebody saying something here. Joe Quarter, okay. So somebody said appreciate the info, and all right, okay. So anyway, we're gonna jump right here now. Once again, if you join me, let me know the city you're from. But we already hit pay dirt already with the guy from Oklahoma, and then we end up talking about a guy born in Oklahoma, Wilbur Bullet Rogan. Look him up, Wilbur, and he spelled his name Wilber, Bullet Rogan. He grew up in Kansas City, Kansas, where I grew up, but he originally was born in Oklahoma City when it was still Indian territory. All right, so let's go here. December the 6th, 1931. Appearing in the first game of a doubleheader against Joe Peroni's All-Stars, Satchel Paige struck out 9 batters in a 7-2 win over at White Sox Park in Los Angeles, California. Now we're getting lots of California Winter League action. Dewey Creasy and Cheney White added home runs to support the victory. Man, Dewey Creasy, that's another one. I have a great picture of Dewey Creasy when he was on the Monarchs' second team, Kansas City Monarchs' second team. And of course, they ended up trading him to St. Louis, and he became a star player as a third baseman, infielder over with the St. Louis Stars. Dewey Creasy. Cheney White played for a lot of good teams. Another good power hitter. He was from, oh man, I'm trying to think, because Coop Papa used to always talk about where he was from in Texas. I'm drawing a blank on this one, but it'll come back to me. But yeah, Cheney White was really good friends with James Coop Papa Bell, and I learned more about Cheney White from Mr. Bell than anyone else, right? And I'm just very fortunate to know some of these all-time greats and have to be able to sit around and talk baseball. And in the wintertime, a time like this, I would get in my car and I would drive down to St. Louis and I would sit there with Tweed Webb. I stopped by his house. He was a great baseball historian. His slogan was, "I've seen them all." And he had seen pretty much the whole thing from 1913 to 19 until the day he passed. But Tweed Webb, I would stop by his house. I would stop by, let's see, also James Coop Papa Bell's house, and I would spend a lot of time there with him and his wife, Clara Bell. So good friends of mine. I learned a lot by sitting with these legendary greats. Man, these are memories that I value today. All right, now if you're joining, be sure and put your city. I see some people saying hello, but I don't know where you're coming from, city or state. Either one of those will work. All right, so let's go to December 6, 1936. And now we have some basketball players who were baseball players. All right, so Bob Douglas is and his team from New York, the New York Renaissance team, the New York Rens is what they also go by, dumped the Brooklyn Visitation team by a 35-21 exhibition game score at New York's Hippodrome Stadium. And the Visitation squad is a member of the American Basketball League. And Clarence Fats Jenkins. Now, I don't know how much you know about Fats Jenkins, but Fats Jenkins is considered one of the top 3 basketball players pre-1950. And there are 3 top players. 2 of those guys, Cumberland Posey and Fats Jenkins, were connected to baseball and were baseball players. So he had 4, Fats Jenkins hit 4 of his team's points. And Jenkins is described is a character of speed, cleverness, and finesse and savvy by the Pittsburgh Courier newspaper. Yeah, he was well recognized at that time, and he was the star player for the New York Rens. He is currently enshrined in the Basketball Hall of Fame in Springfield, Illinois, the Naismith Basketball Hall of Fame. Maybe they ought to rename that thing and make it the Fats Jenkins, because these guys played more games. Let me tell you something. I'm gonna tell you how much these guys played. Okay, you might find this fascinating. They would play the baseball season, but in the winter of 1934, 1935, the Rens played 120. They actually won 122 games and lost 17. So these guys go and play another 140 games of basketball after playing a baseball season that had probably 160 games. These guys are surely playing for the love of the game. And man, if we don't give them recognition, who will? And so that's the thing I've taken on, and I'm trying to educate you guys because somebody's listening who can take this and keep running with it. Running with it. I've run with it for 45 years, guys. I probably won't be able to run another 45 years, but there's someone out there who can. And so I just want to let you know. So if you're joining me, okay, go ahead and let me know where you're joining from. And if you like what I'm doing, go ahead and subscribe. We're building up subscribers. Been at this for 4 months, and the work continues. All right. Okay, so that was the Bob Douglas's team, the New York Renaissance. All right, and they had some other guys. I don't know if you ever heard of Buck Clayton. He played for the Wrens. Uh, he was ended up being a referee, and he actually refereed some heavyweight bouts that included a Muhammad Ali. And so Buck Clayton, look it up. Can't make this stuff up. These guys were all around. And then of course Bill Yancey. He ended up actually, Buck Clayton was also a baseball player, and Bill Yancey, who played for them for the Wrens, was also a baseball player. And so, and how about this? Did you know that Dixon? I talked about him the other day. He played for the New York Black Yankees, had over a 20-year career, and was a military veteran. He also suited up for the New York Renaissance. All right? Okay, so here we go. We're going to keep on going, and we got just, I'm going to give you one more, all right? And I know you've heard of this guy, all right? So let me see if anybody's saying, okay, I'm seeing if anybody's saying they keep telling the truth. We need more like you. All right. Well, I appreciate that. I appreciate that. And we need to tell this history. We need to tell this history. That's all I can say. If we don't share this history, it won't get told. And in my case, sometimes I didn't get a chance to actually interview the people, but I interviewed their children. And now we're up to grandchildren and great-grandchildren, and people are keeping these legacies alive. Josh Gibson's great-grandson, keeping the Josh Gibson Foundation going. And then you have the Pete Hill Organization. Then you have the Satchel Paige Foundation and Pete Hill Foundation. They are creating foundations to keep these names of their family members alive. But what I want to do is spread the field with all these names that people rarely talk about. All right. So this guy gets, we're going to talk about now for his defeat on December the 6th, 1946. I guarantee you heard of him if you know anything about American sports. And playing basketball as a member of the Pasadena-based Los Angeles Red Devils professional basketball team, Jackie Robinson, a forward, scored 9 points to lead his team to a 46-38 win over Dow Chemical Company Athletic Club. And they were out of Midlands, Michigan. And they played before a crowd of 2,000 at the Los Angeles Olympic Auditorium. Man, now that rings a lot of interesting memories for me. First of all, the Olympic Auditorium is in Los Angeles. The building is still there. Now, it's a Korean church now. But during the 1920s, 30s, 40s, and 50s, 60s, it was a good place for boxing. They had boxing almost, 2 or 3 nights a week. One of their big fighters was a guy by the name of Art Aragon. I don't know if you ever heard of him. He was the original Golden Boy. Interesting thing, I have an unpublished boxing book written about a guy who came from my neighborhood named Tommy Campbell. And Tommy Campbell, he grew up in the house across the street from me. Now, he was gone because he was born in 1920, but his mother still lived there. And she used to take me to church. Summertime, man, we had to go to vacation Bible school with we called her Miss Nanny. Miss Nanny Campbell, and later on she got married and became Nanny Hughes. And so this was a guy, and he went to Los Angeles, and he fought in Olympic Auditorium. So I have great information on Olympic Auditorium and what was going on there. And man, it got really crooked because the mob was involved, and they were getting fighters to throw fights. It was just a crazy time. The federal government knew about it, but they did nothing to protect these black boxers. So that's another whole story that I can talk about. But not only did they play uh, did they box there, and they had wrestling matches there, but they also played basketball. And once again, I've never gone into the building. I think the next time I'm going to go to Los Angeles, I'm going to go just to go inside of this historic building. And I don't think it's on the National Register of Historic Places, but there was some great history that took place there. I think about Chalky Wright, man, the great lightweight champion, how many fights he had there. Man, Olympic Auditorium. So I don't know. Do you know about Olympic Auditorium? If you're in Los Angeles, have you ever been there? Have you taken a picture of it? If you don't know much about it, look it up. Look it up. That's one thing that we have now. Used to be when I wanted to search something, I had to go down to the library, get a bunch of books out, and but now we have all this power right at our fingertips. And so, guys, you don't have to take my word for it. Go research it. So, guys, that kind of does it for me today with this December 6th edition of This Day in Black Baseball History. I do want to thank everybody who joined me live for staying with me for as long as you did. And if you are picking this broadcast up later, I want to say thank you for joining, and also go ahead and subscribe. That helps me to keep building these numbers. And one of these days, I'm going to get enough subscribers, and maybe they'll pay me to give this information to you. In the meanwhile, I do a lot of speaking engagements here, mostly around the Midwest in the 17-state region, but I've been all over. Last year, I was in California, and that's typically places that I don't go. But I was in a lot of different places. I was in Cleveland here in the fall too. So anyway, guys, that does it for me. If you're really interested in the work I do, go ahead and pick up one of my books. I have many. So just look under Phil, P-H-I-L-S, Dixon, D-I-X-O-N. And I have some really good books. And I'll put it this way. There are books, and then there are books that are award winners. My last book won the Best of Illinois award. That was came out in 2023, and the book before that came out in 2021, I believe it was. It won a Jackson County uh, uh, Historical Society Award for the best local history. And of course, I've had national award winners, the Negro Baseball Leagues of Photographic History, that has done very well for me too. But most of all, guys, I'm happy to be here talking about this because there are so many memories I have. I could never get them all in a book, but I can share some of them with you here, and maybe you can garner some appreciation for this topic. So thank you, guys. I usually try to get out of here in 20 minutes. It looks like I'm going to be able to do that today. If I get a chance, struggling with a scratchy throat. You see, I got some little hot toddy here. And if I can fight through it, I might come back. Who knows? I might do another late broadcast tonight. So, all right then, guys. Anybody want to say where you're from as I go out? Maybe I got a few more minutes. Anybody? Yeah. So I do appreciate the guys who are giving me accolades, and some people know my work here. They've been following me. So, okay. Nobody's mentioned where they're from. That's no problem. But hey, when you join me, always mention where you're from, and I might be able to give you some information. Ain't no might about it. I can. About the area you live in, the city, the state, something like that. Okay. Have a rest of the day. Have a good day. The rest of the afternoon, and get some Christmas shopping. And that's if you celebrate Christmas. And if you don't celebrate Christmas, get out and do some exercising and just enjoy your life. All right. That's what I'm doing here. And that's why I'm glad that I can present this. Thank you, guys. You have a nice afternoon. This is Phil Dixon with another edition of This Day in Black Baseball History. This has been the December 6th, 2025 edition.